Hey guys, what's going on? I have another deck for you today, and this time going to be a bit of Morvran. I tried Eldain all day today, and I couldn't really make him work. I think the leader isn't very powerful. The problem being with him that there aren't really enough traps to get enough value from the ability. There's a bit too much conditionality, if that's a word, associated with the ability. So unfortunately, Eldain still not very good even with the buff that he got. Instead, I then moved on to a bit of Morvran, which I've been finding to be pretty good so far. Climbed a little bit today, and been winning a fair amount of games. It's just a straight up good value Morvran deck. Pretty damn similar to the stuff that's been played last patch, but you know, there's a couple more things that are able to be played now with the patch. Stuff like Letho. In fact, Letho's probably the main attraction here. He's very powerful. Similar in Orcs and Seret's abilities, gaining more value if you have one of those guys in your hand the same way they do. And apart from him, we also have Sialak, which is something I'm experimenting with a little bit. He's actually pretty cool because he gets rid of all the immunity that units have on the board, all the locks as well, so you can unlock some of your stuff. It maybe has a bit of anti-synergy with your own locks occasionally, but other times you're able to unlock maybe a Nausicaa Sergeant from the opponent, so he works kind of like a quasi-Aguara in a way, which is pretty cool. And apart from that, you can really smash Eredin sometimes, and you can deal with other immune units against stuff like monsters in particular. So apart from that, we have just great value in all the cards pretty much. We've got, of course, the standard Bronze Core with the locks, the slave drivers, the sergeants, infiltrators for a bit of carryover value, and of course knights to set up Peter and Leo, which are pretty important cards as well. We then have this insane Orcs, Letho, and Seret package, which is pretty awesome when it works, giving you 3 damage lock, lots of locks, and of course more damage. There's Horn as a big finisher. Horn is just supremely powerful. I mean, everyone knows it at this point, but it works really well in Morvran because you're able to protect your units with the leader ability, swarm a little bit with the Witches and Asaya, and Roach, of course, and do all the rest of it, you know, with the buffs and everything. So all in all, works pretty well. We of course have Unicorn Caranex as well. There's probably other stuff you could try out, especially in Morvran, but this is kind of just going to be the standard value sort of deck with a couple of inclusions that might not be perfect. Sialak is definitely an experimental one, but it will win you games against Eredin, so that's why I've got him in there, trying him out a bit. That being said, let's jump into a game or two and see if we can win. We're going to be up against Eredin. It's the first opponent, so that should be quite interesting. Hopefully the Sialak, or Kialak, however you say his name, will really come in clutch here. And the opponent won't know about it, so it should be a pretty good showcase of what he can do. That being said, let's maybe look at another card here. Infiltrator, we kind of like one of in round 1, and 2 Sergeants might be okay. That being said, I think, we should probably keep this in case we get a Witcher, I think. We can drop those engines since we're on the red coin. On blue coin, we maybe wouldn't keep both of them. A bit too slow to actually develop those in a timely fashion. But Orcs here looks really juicy because we do have Seret in hand. We could, of course, go with Nausicaa Sergeant to start with, but I think Orcs first is better because that way we'll deny 2 points. We'd only gain 1 from playing Sergeant at the beginning. So this should result in more value. We'll, of course, get Roach out as well for Asaya later on. If we can hold on to Seret, that would be nice because we want him potentially later to enable the Letho. That being said, we might want to kill the Wyvern here because that's a bit of a threat. All these Thrive units are. But at the same time, I mean, we have this Sialak which can just shut down the Eredin ability completely. So it doesn't really deal with Morntart because we'd have to play it and then kill the Morntart after. And if he is playing Morntart, which he might be, he's running Neckers, so that's usually a bit of a tell. It might not work, but it does mean we're safe from things like Slizzard and Imlerith or whatever, which normally would be very scary in a long round. But we're just going to play the Sergeant, and hopefully the second one will survive. First got taken out. Otherwise, we can maybe play quite a short round 1 if we really want to against Eredin here. But no need to give up yet. We can definitely play Witches, get them out of the deck. And we'll see where to go from there. We can't really deal with the Thrive units. We don't have any more locks in hand, but You know, Orcs onto Neck is of course very powerful, so we've got a bit more staying power here. We can maybe play an Infiltrator now. And then go with like Slave Infantry. Maybe go with Peter as well onto the tactical advantage if they do that. But we are pretty far behind, so a pass might also be worth considering at this stage. How many points do we get here? 8 from Peter. Slave Infantry would only then be 7, but we are getting 2 extra points from this, so 9 plus 8 would be enough to tie. And maybe that's good enough. It might be worth getting rid of Peter. That being said, there's sometimes ghouls and whatnot that come out. So I kind of wouldn't mind going Slave Infantry now, because it's one of those kind of middling cards that we don't necessarily want for later. We don't want to copy Roach, of course. Turn Roach into a slave would not end very well for us. Want to use a Sire on that later. Probably the Eridan will keep playing here. But we will see. We do have a pretty okay hand if we want to take a pass. I'm a little bit scared of Morntart, to be honest, because, yeah, as I said, we don't really have the answer for that. We only can answer Slizzard or Imlerith to some degree, but I think we're going to take the pass and see if that tech can really perform in some way in this game. Morntart is a bit scary, but you can maybe just outpower it in terms of throwing down a Commander's Horn or whatever. It does, you know, eat up a leader, which is effectively 6 points in comparison to ours, so Morntart's not necessarily that scary, and to be fair, we can deal with it very nicely with Leo if we have last say, which I don't think we're going to have, but it's worth keeping in mind, I suppose. Honestly, we can probably keep this. I don't really want to mulligan into a good card, but maybe we'd rather have Nilf Knight round 3, so we can mulligan into the Lock, for example. Get rid of that. So here the hope is it actually is Slizzard, because then we can completely wreck the opponent if they don't see this coming. We can let him eat up his whole board and then drop the Sealak into Leo and just kind of smash that. But who knows if they are actually running that version. Might also be Morntart. In that case, it's going to be a bit more scary. So I definitely think we want to go for Kyrenex and Letho. The question is, which of these is worse? Honestly, Knight's just a vanilla 6, basically, and Alba's probably not that necessary, especially if we're finding the Letho to deal some damage. We do get him. We could now get rid of Knight to actually look for the Kyrenex. I think it's a bit unlikely that we'll actually find it. And since we don't have any locks in hand, getting a Slave Driver would be quite bad, so we'll just hold on to what we've got. And we can start with that Nilf Knight. I mean, his graveyard's very underdeveloped. If it is Morntart, we should be probably okay against it. And I think we want to play into... We can play into either row. We're going to have to put Leo on front and Sire on back, so it doesn't really matter where we play. And the Werewolf is one of those immune units, so we're going to be able to get rid of that tag as well. That'll be nice. We could also Asire back the Spear Tip, but I'm not really that worried if he's eating that. It's just going to translate into more points that we basically deal with later on with the Leo, I think. So let's just, yeah, carry on. More immunity. And I think we just want to wait on this until... hopefully we see a Slizzard, but maybe we won't, who knows. Going to be a little bit annoying to deal with this stuff, but of course, just play Unicorn for now. Gonna need to have some kind of target. And okay, there it is. There's the immune target for him, which is an Imlerith rather than anything else. So we can probably just smash this Sealak now, I think, and start really dealing with these units. We don't have to worry about a Slizzard or anything, so this is going to be very, very powerful. 3 immune tags gone. Absolutely destroyed. And we can now, of course, kill this with Leo. If we want to do that, which we probably do. Probably do. We're then going to have Peter onto a Ghoul if they have that, or Osrel, potentially. And that's, I mean, that's their leader and such a high provision card just gone like that. The win condition for their deck, pretty much. So we should be in a very good spot now. A locked Necker, that's really not what he wants to see. So pretty much we can just play a Letho or Seret now. I'm just going to stack for that, of course, for that, you know, horn at the end of the game. We probably want to damage this werewolf. We can kill it with the Letho. Maybe deny a little bit of value on that front. Oh wait, oh I was meant to play Letho first. Oh god, I'm an idiot. Dumbo. Oh well. Hopefully that won't matter. But that was a dumb play. Me misplay. It's fine. Whatever. It happens. New cards. It's hard, guys. It's hard. It's very difficult. I'm sure we won't lose as a result of that, right? That would be very embarrassing. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Royal Decree. Just going to be more crones. But we are very far ahead from that Leo, so... Not too worried at the moment. We have this horn, of course, which will close things out nicely. It looks like. May as well go with that now and see if we get Peter value. Onto anything other than these crones. I think we should be looking good. Just going to be Spear Tip. And presumably, yeah, an Ozrel or something. Last play, I imagine. Gonna be a win. Nice. See, like putting in the work, carrying me despite a little misplay there towards the end. Either way, let's jump into another game and see if we can win again. Okay, we're going to be up against Henselt now. Shouldn't be too much that Sialak can do for this one, but he's already proved his worth, I think. Definitely a fun tech card to have in the deck. So, with the mulligan, what can we get rid of? We of course want a lot of removal for Henselt's engines. It's going to be quite nice, so we have a lot of that already. I'm honestly thinking of getting rid of slave inventory. It'll be useful later on to maybe deal with the Sabrina, but right now it's not providing a whole lot. Letho's great. Honestly, we can probably keep the rest of this. We've got some removal, in fact a lot of it, and some other tools as well. I'm gonna boost this. It might get iked, but honestly it's not the end of the world. And it's better than it getting killed by Vess, I think. Because that card is really an annoying one. Gonna be a Caldwell play from the offset. That's a bit of a weird one. We could just Leo him. We could also just, you know, shoot him and try to switch his loyalty. Or we could just kind of wait and let the Nausicaa Sergeant naturally get to a high strength threshold. Maybe that's the way to go here. I don't want to do anything too hasty. There's of course no reason to try to, you know, take this immediately. We don't need to win on even or anything. So yeah, if we just roll with some points, we should be fine. Oh, opponent's connection's a bit wonky. Caldwell in Henselt. He might be running a lock maybe to lock that and not have the negative effect go off, I imagine. Could be. Or it's just a bit of a weird tech. I guess he's a human, so you can turn him into a 10 strength revenant. That might be the plan, like to Draug and then revive this with necromancy or something. There's a cursed knight. Alright. So it looks like it's going to be some necromancy shenanigans. Stop disconnecting, man! Chill yourself. It's all good, Holmes. It's all good, my friend. So, what are we doing here? We have a lot of locks, and there's not a lot to lock right now. It's a really cool deck idea, though, the Cursed Knight stuff. That was one thing I wanted to try out. I probably will in the coming days. There's not really anything that looks too great here. We could go with a Letho. Could go with a Leo, but I'm not sure I want to commit the Leo when we know this will come back later on. So maybe we just go with the Chironex. I don't really mind that. Oh no. Got that Asian internet connection. We're too far apart, it seems like. But fine, let's whack this guy. Maybe we don't even want the tallest unit, but it shouldn't really matter. In fact, probably hitting that's wrong because Leo can't kill it then, but as I said, we probably don't want to do that anyway. We can maybe telegraph that we don't have a Leo, and there's benefits associated with that, right? I think Peter is fine here. Just take the value on it. He can be kind of wonky to play. You want to, you know, make sure Nilf Knight is working with him. but often you want it to work with Leo instead, so we'll just get the value from it now. And gonna try to hold on to the locks. I'm not even sure they'll be relevant. Like, it doesn't seem like he has many engines, but that could be, you know, not accurate. So maybe Leo here is fine. We can also just play a slave driver. I kind of prefer that, I think. I'm gonna try to hold on to as many good cards as possible and just, you know, trade some cards here if they want to keep pushing, which looks like they do. Get rid of one of our weaker cards, get the deploy bonus. We're just out of Ike range, which is nice. If that card is a thing. We're going to get completely wrecked by it. Oh my god, more knights are coming. That is a lot of knights. I think I'll probably pass now. Because he needs 10 points, which is a fair amount. If they can't do that, then we're going to be looking really nice with 2 card advantage. And Sabrina's Inferno is, of course, pretty scary. Definitely a cool concept deck. The Spectres and whatnot. Curse Knight buff is actually quite relevant, potentially. Does mean you have to draw your Coldwell early on, or you're in a bit of trouble, but... What can we go with here? So... slave, infantry, oh sorry, driver isn't that bad with the amount of locks we have. We can maybe keep it. Infiltrators are play on the dry pass, so I think we want to get rid of Sialak. I don't see him doing much in this particular game. Horn is quite good for later, so we'll just hold on to the rest of it, I think. Might even be good this round if they push, but I wouldn't imagine they will. It's possible. Gonna be witches at least. So I think we can go with the infiltrator potentially here. And then maybe take it with a Letho or something like that. We definitely want to play this here, so kind of no reason not to, and maybe it persuades them to commit a little bit deeper. It's something like Drummer, and we can then shut that down here with Letho, probably. Sounds good. And then we can take it with Slave Driver if we have to. We could also have just played a Morvran charge, I guess, to try to stay ahead, but we'll maybe do that now. They're kind of committing some resources here that, yeah, I think one Morvran charge is perfectly reasonable to use. If we can get the Henshot ability this round, or the card now, it'd be nice. And this way we'll be able to react to that revive on the Curse Knight if they go for it this round instead of next. So actually it's probably, I probably should have done that the turn before, but whatever. This way works as well. I guess Henshot's happening now. This might honestly be our Leo. Leo in another Morvran charge looks quite tempting. If we do that, then we can probably negotiate card advantage just using Commander's Horn. So I think I'm going to go for it. And 12, of course, is more than we're going to get on that 10, so seems to be pretty good value. This is kind of the beauty of Morvran as a leader. You can just use his ability to navigate round 2 very nicely. And even round 1 sometimes to push even or get card advantage in some way. Not many leaders have that flexibility. But he's going pretty much all in. Does give us the Horn though, which is nice. But setting up the Sabrina is a bit scary. We're going to be able to lock her or not. No, that's only enemy units. But we can buff her if we want to. I think here Slave Driver looks pretty nice onto Revenant. Could also Orcs it and just deal with all of those in one go, but I think this is fine. And we're not really threatened. I don't think I need to buff this at all. I'm thinking what could really deal with this that deals like immediate damage, maybe a Rivian Pikeman or something, but I think I'm always going to be able to get ahead with a Horn afterwards, so not really too worried about that. And it's just going to be a blue stripe. We could Orcs this, and I'm pretty tempted to do that, I think. Although, Horn is going to be kind of weak later on, to be fair. Like, it might be a dead card, so actually it's probably a bit safer to play it. It might also be very good, but kind of hard to tell. Potentially buffing Sabrina's wrong, because then he can play a Vess onto it, but not really too worried about that. So we managed to keep a card up, and we also have a Morvran charge, which is pretty nice. We're going to have to deal with some kind of big revive from him or something, but you know, Saret's a pretty big play on its own, so I'm not too worried. Infiltrator has got to go because it's definitely the worst card here. Unicorn's a good pickup. Now we can either get rid of the Sergeant or the Knight. I think the Sergeant's probably a bit worse here. It might get removed. Might not find too much value. I probably want to lead off with Knight as well, so this is going to be probably max 6 points. The Knight might be, or a different card might be a little bit more value. Not sure about Cavalry though, it might be a bit weaker. Either way, we'll start with the Knight. Going to be effectively 8 points up from the offset, which is nice. And there's the Necromancy, which is definitely scary. 10-point play is not bad at all. We could lock this. We've got so many locks. I think we're probably good against a lot of stuff. But playing Serret here is okay, I think. We'll go for that and lock any engines they're going to have at the end here. Maybe Okvist or Synthesis or something weird. I'm quite curious what the finisher is here. Maybe a Sabrina Spectre to... Is that even a card anymore? I don't know. I don't even know. Okay, Vest, that gets locked by the Cavalry. It's probably wise to play a Morvran charge as well at some point here. I'm going to play it here just in case there's some weird like blue dream or something into Vernon and thinning his whole deck. There might be some fringe scenario where we don't get the Morvran buff, so I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. Just got a Revenant, so that gets pretty easily locked up as well. And we're trading up on these plays quite nicely. Hopefully Unicorn will be enough of a finisher here to take it. But a valiant effort. I do like the Cursed Knight synergy there. It's pretty cool. You probably don't want to build completely around it, I think. I'll definitely have a go with a similar style of deck, I think, in the near future. But maybe not going so heavy on the Spectres. Who knows? Either way, that's going to be our wrap. We do take the game. And proving that Morvran with value cards is still pretty damn good. A lot of control and all around effective stuff. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Do feel free to try this deck if you want something good to climb with right now. If not, have a lovely day. Do subscribe for more videos and I'll see you next time.